All right, peace everybody. This is Azizah Nubia, and I am here with a very special new segment that we're starting with Natural Woman Magazine, and that is Artist Spotlight, where we highlight different artists in different genres of the craft and people who really use their craft to bring positivity, love, and just happiness to our planet. So our first artist spotlight is someone that I have found via internet, and I love his music. It's different. It's kind of like he's an ancient, like the new ancient, the return of an ancient one with his music, and that is Shakka Ahmose. So I would like to welcome Shakka Ahmose to our internet hangout, and we're going to talk a little bit about his music and share some insight into the craft and and who is Shakka Ahmose. So thank you so much, brother, for being a part of this interview.
Duaou, Sister Sinet Nefer Azizah. That means praises, praises. Thank you, my beautiful sister Azizah of Natural Woman Magazine, the insightful, beautiful sister Azizah Nubia. Really, genuinely, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this, and this is an honor. I've been listening to Jimi Hendrix all morning, so I'm kind of in a little Jimmy mood. So,
hey, you can't go wrong with
if I seem aloof, you can't go wrong. I've been listening to Lil Wayne all morning long. I put it on repeat, and I'm good. You know, it seems to reflect everything else going on in my life right now. So for me, it's Jimmy. You know, and that's every day, first thing in the morning.
Oh,
absolutely.
Awesome.
So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Very much so.
Well, I am glad to have you a part. I know we were planning to do this interview in New York City, face to face, but it was a lot of things going on. I think Dr. Ben had passed, and he was one of your mentors. And so everything's synced up. So we're doing an interview now here online. So did you have a few remarks about Dr. Ben's passing and how he impacted your life?
Thank you for asking that. I really appreciate that. I like you. I really appreciate you. No, I really do. I'm actually at the very moment, I'm working on a tribute to Dr. Ben. And as far as the impact of my life is concerned, in my life by Dr. Ben, it's so surreal to try to explain something as real as his impact was on myself, because as I think quite a few people know, it's no secret, I was pretty much raised from childhood in his presence, sometimes loosely, sometimes tightly, depending on what the function was and what the accessibility was. So I was one of those children that was always running around the auditorium or the classroom, wherever it was, he was yelling and screaming about white supremacy and ancient Egypt and how Greek was fake and blah, blah, blah. And I always wondered why this man was so angry. So I didn't like him as a kid, as a child. But when I got older and I actually started reading his work, and then I'll be honest with you, Sister Azizah, one of the reasons I didn't like Dr. Ben when I was younger, I'm talking about as a teenager and as a child, is because every summer my mother was in Egypt with him, and we kind of felt like he was taking mom away, you know? Wow. It wasn't mom taking, you know, we weren't going to Great Adventure or Disney World or anything. And, you know, she was in Egypt in some temple with Dr. Ben. And I mean, for the whole summer, it wasn't like for a week or something like that. She'd be gone for the whole summer. But what was cool was that every time she came back, I was one of those nosy little kids that would be going through her cassettes. And I would just play whatever cassette I would find. And so I have literally like tons of cassettes with my mother in these temples, whether it's Kalabsha or the Temple of Khnum in Upper Egypt, or any one of these different temples, particularly the ones in Nubia, Abu Simbel and other temples like that. So I have Dr. Ben and my mother and those, I'm sure Asha Crazy and Meriwah Crazy, those people who were present, people like Shakka Ahmose Shango, who many people don't remember, and they need to read his works as well. But all of these people, I have them on cassette, just in the temples talking. And I can hear my mother laughing, and I can hear her asking a question. Or and also Mother Franklin was also present. And anybody who knows anything about the environment that Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark always kept, they know that Mother Franklin, my mother's godmother, they know that she was a constant presence and a constant figure. So in fact, she called Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark her little brothers because she outranked them in age. So if you ever listen to a Dr. Ben, if you ever listen to a Dr. Ben lecture, my mother always took her to Africa every summer. If you ever hear a Dr. Ben lecture, or especially a Dr. Clark lecture, you'll hear a woman in the audience saying, "Teach, teach," and everybody knows that was Mother Franklin. So I have all of those cassettes of all of them in these temples, and it's so interesting because listening to it kind of relaxes you, because you can hear the air moving in the background. It sounds kind of cavernous, as if they're in a cave or something like that. And just listening to Dr. Ben talk, he's not yelling like you're accustomed to, or it's just nice, calm, casual conversation. And you can hear the people absorbing it and taking it in. So when I think about Dr. Ben, my memories, they're not what I call YouTube memories. My memories are a bit more intimate, because it reminds me of my childhood. I can't go back to my childhood in the mid-'70s or even prior to that. I can't go back and think about things like the Jackson 5 and other things without thinking about Dr. Ben, because he was also a part of that tapestry in my life at that time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and his passing, and not only that, I spent a lot of intimate time with him in his latter years as well. A lot of one-on-one time with just him and myself. I think the New Year's of 2011 going into 2012, or the New Year's of 2012, I forget, going to 2013, I spent with him because his birthday was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And so that was very special, just to be, hanging out with him, sitting on the couch, watching him laugh, laugh at, he loved when people yelled at me, and I never got that. He really enjoyed that. So I don't know why. I really don't know why, but he did enjoy that. I think because for him, it was nice to watch someone else take the heat instead of him,
Okay.
So, yeah. And so I took it, I took it. And it was usually a woman, a sister, something that I had said, because I can be kind of controversial, because I have my own perspective. And, you know how strong sisters can be, and I love it,
Yeah.
And I always made sure I keep the strong ones around me to keep me in line, because I need to be kept in line. There's no question about it. So yeah, I miss him. I miss him. I mean, you can't help but miss him. Even to his final day, if you knew anything about his personality, there was something about his personality, even off of stage, that just you knew you were in the presence of someone and something that was special. It didn't matter if it was casual conversation. It didn't matter if you were talking about Marcus Garvey or Dr. Clark or whoever it was or whatever it was that he wanted to talk about. You could be talking about baseball, because Dr. Ben loved to watch baseball. You just sit there on the couch. You think you go into his house and you want to ask him about the pyramid texts and King Tut or whatever. Dr. Ben at any given point in time, he would have been more interested in the Yankees and the Mets. You know what I'm saying? Because that was his pastime. That's what he loved. He loved that, and he appreciated it. But absolutely, even in the middle of a game, if you brought up something about Egypt, it would just switch off in his mind, and he would just address whatever it was that you were talking about. So, knowing him and spending that time, very, very appreciative. And I'm grateful that I had that. And I thank you for asking me that question.
Awesome. Awesome. It's always good to reflect on, how our ancestors helped inspire us. And Dr. Ben has, instilled a lot of information into a lot of people. And so we'll always honor that natural woman.
Oh, yes.
And it's amazing how a lot of people don't even know who our true leaders are, so I always like to give that information and share and give people insight. So to talk about you as an artist, you actually do a lot more than just music. You seem you're a scholar. You do a little. You're kind of like an internet celebrity with the Sonnet and Polite and all that kind of stuff. But your music is something that's really different, and it kind of like, you know, I think it's the mysterious thing about you. So let's talk a little bit about music. Where did it start, and what's your purpose with your music, and how you wish to impact people?
Okay, I appreciate those questions. I really do. I always pretend like I have ready, neat, made answers for them, because I don't. Yeah. Well, everything that you just said is true. The way you described what's going on with me right now, which tells me you're on your job because you're paying attention. Absolutely, and I commend that. Life is a little crazy for me right now. In fact, I had a guest coming from Florida this past weekend, and we decided to just go have brunch on 125th Street because, you know, it's been gentrified, and they have all of these fancy places now. And we decided to have brunch in this very, I don't know, suave French black or noir, French noir neo-African restaurant lounge. I don't know what to call it. And it was very swank. And when we left them, we decided to take a walk down 125th Street. We literally could not make it one block because I don't like to use the word mobbed, but I kind of got mobbed walking down the street, and it was crazy. It was me. I mean, I know she was freaking out because I know that I was freaking out, but you know, you can't show people that you're freaking out. You just have to be friendly and warm and receptive and answer as many questions as you can and try to let people know that you're on your way to somewhere. The reality of it was that we were not on our way to somewhere, so I couldn't lie and say, sorry people, I have to go, I'm on my way somewhere. So you just absorb that love, and you're very grateful and very appreciative. As far as, and that's what's going on, I guess, with all of this internet stuff. And
yeah,
I'll be honest with you. And it's just on that subject matter because you broached it. Okay. And so I'm going to bring it up. I've actually had to read articles on how to deal with fame, because for a minute it really started to I don't know, trip me out a little bit, because you want to just run to the store across the street from where you live and like everybody else, and then when people are stopping you in the doorway or stopping you while you're trying to pay for stuff, asking you, are you so and so and so, and we watch you all the time, and my kids love you, and they don't go to school unless they watch one of your videos, and you're just like, you have butter in your hand and popcorn in the other hand, and you're like, I love you too. I love all of you. And I understand Michael MJ when he would say, the best comeback is always, I love you more. You know? Yeah. So I have I love you more stamped on my chest. But as far as the music goes, the music that the images, which is actually to some degree more important than the music itself. Mm-hmm. The music serves as a vehicle to present the image. That's first and foremost. So I could be rapping about anything, singing about anything to some degree. What I'm more concerned with is what people are seeing when I'm doing it. And the reason for that, I guess, kind of takes us to Now Valley Movement, why it exists, what it's about, and what it's for. And I have to backtrack this very briefly to how it came about, this musical thing. I was doing music before I decided to attach a Kemetic image to it, or a Now Valley image to it. I don't want to give all the credit to just Kemet, because Kemet is not all of the Now Valley. So I was doing music prior to the Now Valley image. Mm-hmm. However, it left me feeling kind of empty. It left me feeling as if I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing for the people. And I remember Dr. John Henry Clark always saying something. Dr. John Henry Clark is another very close family friend, if you will, family member even. My younger sister was his secretary, and my mother was a very dear family friend to both he and his wife, Sybil. And in fact, even up until recent times, whenever I encountered her, the first thing she would always ask me is, how's your mother? Because everyone knows that my mother resides in Africa. My mother lives in Ghana. Oh. And so, and she was a very close-knit member. She was a very close-knit member of that that circle, the Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, the United African Movement, all of that stuff, ASCAC. And so I remember Dr. John Henry Clark always saying something, and it stood out to me, Sister Azizah. It really stood out to me. What Dr. John Henry Clark always said was, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're sweeping the streets. It doesn't matter if you're a garbage man. Whatever it is that you do, if you're a school teacher, if you're a pastor, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you use whatever it is that you do for the liberation of your people. So if whatever you do can be directed towards the liberation of your people, then you owe no one an apology. You're covered. You're on good ground. And it was constantly hearing that and constantly having that hammered into my mind, into my thought process, that said, well, you know what? You don't have to stop doing music. All you need to do is cater what you're doing towards the liberation of your people, whether it's waking them up, which is really what I'm all about. It's like Malcolm said, you can't fear people who are still asleep. And so you can come with the greatest intentions in the world, the greatest platform, whatever it is. But if your platform is not geared towards waking them up and unplugging them from the matrix so that you have good minds to work with and clear hearts to appeal to, then you're going to be wasting your time. So Nile Valley Movement is all about waking up Black people by being confrontational with the image, like in your face. So when you see me out in the street, you're going to see this lock. You're going to see this wasket around my neck, and you're going to see that aunt being wrecked. Doesn't matter if I'm on the subway, if I'm driving in the car, if I'm on a bus, if I'm in a restaurant, it doesn't matter. And you better believe that, no question, this side lock, no matter where I go, it has a deep impact. And it really does. It has a very deep impact on people. It doesn't matter what their race is or what their background is. And I guarantee you, if you ever come to New York, and which would be a nice thing, and you and I have an evening or an afternoon out on the town, and we're walking through Times Square, if you saw how people react to my presence, it would make you would have to stop just to catch your breath, because they just, I don't know what it is, they're seeing something that they think they never thought they would see, or something they're just not accustomed to. And so the reaction is always very visceral, almost as if they have no control over their own action. And so that's what the Nile Valley Movement is about. The music itself, I have so many different musical interests because I'm no spring chicken. I always tell people I'm no spring chicken. If the ancestors bless me, I'll see 50 in just a matter of months, relatively speaking. So 50 years of age. And I think that would be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty neat, to see 50. And so I have a lot of musical influences. You can't be around for almost 50 years and not be impacted by the music of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and all of that. And I've been deeply impacted by all of that. And I came out of a very musical household. Coming out of an academic household, you can't help but come out of a musical household. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is. It could be Beethoven, it could be Bob Marley, it could be Maya Angelou, Miriam Makeba. I grew up listening to a lot of Miriam Makeba. And it's so sad because you ask the average young sister today, do you have any Miriam Makeba on your playlist and your iPod? They're like, who? They know who Nicki Minaj is, but they don't know who Miriam Makeba is. That's crazy. Like, you don't know the Click song? You don't know Pata Pata? That's crazy. Like, what are your parents doing? That's music. I'm not saying don't listen to Nicki Minaj. I mean, I wouldn't listen to it, but if you go and listen to Nicki Minaj or I forget the other sister's name, Azella, right? I don't know who I don't know who these people are because I don't listen to them. But you can at least sneak up some Miriam Makeba in there, some Jimi Hendrix, and some Bob Marley. I mean, or Aretha Franklin or whoever. Just some staple music, you know what I mean? The foundational stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I listen to a lot of I'm deeply influenced by Jimi Hendrix, deeply influenced by Michael Jackson, and even when it comes to rap music, deeply influenced by Tupac. No rap influenced me like Tupac, but I did have an affinity for the X-Clans and the Public Enemies and the Sister Soldiers, those rappers that were saying something about us. Yeah. Those rappers who were actually a threat. Those rappers who were actually a threat to the status quo and to white supremacy. Those are the rappers that moved me, but none of them moved me like Tupac. None of them.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, he was all I listened to. You know, when it came to rap, everybody else was insignificant. They weren't saying nothing. Plus, I have a lot in common with them, so it was kind of like listening to myself rap. You know, so because I listened so much, when I finally did decide to rap, that's what came out. You know, a lot of people ask me about that. You know, my music made a lot of money in Japan, overseas, and I've been on a few record labels and went through all of that stuff as well. So I got a history. I've been around for a long time. Like I tell people, when you've been around for a long time, there's a lot to you. So I just have to I have to give it in spurts. Can't give you everything all at once. Because you'll never get to ask me a question. You know?
Well, that's cool. That's awesome. And you're right. Music does, you know, just being around 50s, 60s, especially the 70s. Oh my gosh, the music in the 70s were awesome. And if you look at, I remember I found the post on Facebook and it had a list of a few songs in the 70s compared to songs now. And all the songs in the 70s were about unity, love, peace. And then all the songs now is about hate, can't stand you, let's just do it.
What you got, what you own.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Let's sell some drugs or something. So yeah, so since we're talking about music on that level, how do you feel that the music today that's coming out mainstream, how do you think that's impacting society, especially our people? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I will go with the title of a book that came out a few years ago.
Okay.
This is a book that was written referencing the writings of George Orwell. And most people know who George Orwell was. He was an author who wrote the book 1984, and he also wrote Animal Farm. And these are books that try to teach, they're socially, politically conscious books.
Yeah.
And they try to give you insight into society and how it actually is constructed, or constructs of social constructs.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular book that references his writing, the title of the book is All Art is Propaganda. And you can't get more Orwellian than that. All art. He didn't say some art or a little bit of art or this art but not this art. He said all art is propaganda. Mm-hmm. And I concur. I couldn't help but agree with that, that all art is indeed propaganda. And so because it is, with respect to the music that's being played to our day, I can tell you this much. I don't know what the radio stations are in New York, in Ohio. Mm-hmm. I kind of know what a few of them are I know what a few of the radio stations are on the West Coast in California. However, in New York City, the radio stations, the black radio stations are WBLS 105.1 Clear Channel and Hot 97 Clear Channel. Mm-hmm. And what you're going to hear when you turn to those stations, you're going to hear rap music and R&B. Now, on the white stations, Z100, 95 PLJ, Fresh 102.7, Light FM. On the white stations, you will never hear the word nigger. Do you hear what I just said?
Wow.
On the white stations, you will never hear the word nigger. On the black stations, mm-hmm. I can't count how many times during a given week you will certainly hear the word nigger. At least a few times during your day. You will actually hear it. So I'm wondering, how is it on this public platform that is addressing society at large that the word nigger is still permissible in 2015? Mm-hmm. And that the CC, whatever, the people who monitor language on radio, that they don't have a problem with it. And that black people, I mean, I see people rioting in the streets for things that they should riot for, but I'm wondering why we don't riot for the things that other things that we should riot for. There should be riots out in front of Clear Channel or in front of any organizations that are supporting Clear Channel that has all these radio stations around the country that pump music to us that is designed to socially engineer us.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I tell people all the time, you're not socially hardwired to get me or to understand me, so don't even bother trying. If you want to listen to something that I say, that's fine. If you want to read something that I've written, that's fine. Or something that I recommend, that's fine. But for you to get me, you would first have to reconstruct and deconstruct your whole social engineering, your whole, the way that you're hardwired, that you've been hardwired. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm sure the same is true for even persons like yourself. You know, for you to walk into a nightclub or to a lounge where the majority of our people may be there, or the majority of the people there may be our people. That doesn't mean they're going to get you. You know what I mean? Some people might think that they will. Even them seeing you with your wonderful locks, and it's still so wonderful to see a sister with locks in her hair, because I love me some locks. Someone asked me yesterday what I thought about locks, and I had to give a whole diatribe. All of the women in my family had locks all of my life, so I wouldn't, you know, it's just something that's been a part of the tapestry of my life always. So in fact, I once had them. But that music is poison. I know it's poison. You know it's poison. We all know it's poison. Because at the end of the day, all it does is it seeks to subvert your value system. That's all it does. And you will find that the largest consumer of this music are young black females. Young black females. It's not even the young black males. It's the young black females. They are the largest consumers of this music. In our communities. It doesn't mean that white people are not consuming it more or just as much, because they are. How do we know they are? You go to the when you go to the concerts and you see the concert footage and you look in the audience, it's not us that you see out there. We're out there, but we're way up in the stands because most of us probably couldn't afford those tickets that get you down in the front anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So the majority, so when you go to Coachella or all these other concerts where you have the nigger, bitch music being played, the majority of the people in the audience are white people. That's just what it is. So, but I'm not concerned with how it subverts them, because relatively speaking, they are not my family members. They are not my community at large. You understand what I'm saying? And I'll tell you how deep that is, Sister Azizah. It's amazing that in the midst of gentrification, like I live in Harlem right now. I'm sitting in Harlem, I'm 3 blocks from Central Park, and Harlem is historically black. But if you walk out my door right now, you're fortunate to see a black person.
Wow.
Even though Harlem has, even though Harlem has become what it is, I'm still not in the same community with them. You understand what I'm saying? With these other people that have moved in.
Wow.
You understand?
Yeah.
So they're not my community. Even though you live here in Harlem, you're still not my community. So you could be thousands of you living amongst us. It doesn't mean that we live in the same community. You understand?
Yeah.
There are respective communities here now in Harlem. There is the white community in Harlem, and there is the black community in Harlem, and there is the Latin community in Harlem. So it's not one community. It's a composite community comprised of different peoples. So I have to be concerned with my community, no matter where we are, whether we're in Ohio, whether we're in California, whether we're here in New York. I'm concerned with my community, no matter where we are, because I still subscribe to the concept of we, of us. There are far too many black people today who don't even subscribe to that concept. They don't even know that there's a we or an us until it becomes expedient for them to recognize it. You understand what I'm saying? Those are the people who I call conveniently black. You're black when it's convenient for you to be black.
Yeah.
You follow?
Yeah.
When it's not convenient to be black, you know, you could care less about being black. You walk to a conscious person and be like, I want to hear about that black stuff. And that goes for the gangsters too, and the hip hoppers too. They're black when it's convenient to be black. They call you street, don't make you black. I tell that to people all the time. This call you street and you got a little bit of swagger or you thugged out or whatever. That don't make you black. It just makes you street. I know white people that talk and walk and act the same way. They ain't black. You know what I mean? So, you know, what are you saying? So let me shut up because I can just I love conversation. I don't get to have it too often.
So what makes a person black?
What makes a person black?
Yeah.
I'll quote Stephen Biko, the ancestor Stephen Biko. who wrote the book, I Write What I Like. I strongly recommend that you read the book. Now, anybody watching this interview, I strongly suggest that they get the book, that they read the book, I Write What I Like by Stephen Bantu Biko. Now, it's painful. You and me both know that the average black person doesn't even know who Stephen Biko is. I know that, and you know that, and that should be heartbreaking, you know, but they know who Biggie Smalls was. He said that in today's world, black must be, by necessity, first and foremost, a social construct. A social construct that subscribes, first and foremost, to the values and the interest of black people, to the historical and traditional values and interests of black people. That's what being black is. So if your value system and your behavior does not reinforce and foster the interest of the traditional values and interests of black peoples, then you're not black. Period. You're not. I mean, you know how many, we know about a black face white mask by Frantz Fanon. He said it. There are many people, or whether black face white mask, right? He said it. And Frantz Fanon was the prolific writer. I think all black people should read at least one Frantz Fanon book. If you're not gonna read Blackface or what is it, White Mask, Blackface, or Blackface, White Mask, I forget the title. If you're not going to read that, then at least read The Wretched of the Earth. You know, you have to read these prolific writers because these were the best minds that we had to offer. P. Diddy is not the best mind that we have to offer. Russell Simmons and Baby from Cash Money, these are not the best black minds that we have to offer. These are just men from our community who established a relationship with business and money, and they've done what they've done. So they said it all. You know, black skin doesn't make you black. You know, not if black is going to be what we need it to be. Not if black is going to be what we want it to be. And we have to be the arbiters of the definition of the term itself. You know, I'm not interested in somebody, oh, well, look at it like the Moors. You know, the Moors always say, well, black means this, and they go straight to some cracker dictionary. And I'm like, bro, you already disenfranchised yourself, so you can't help me when it comes to the definition of black. You go into this cracker's definition for it. Well, what about your definition of black? What about my definition of black? What about our grandparents' definition of black? Our great-great-great-grandparents, talking about way back millenniums ago. What about their definition of black? You stuck up in Webster and Merriam, you know, or Oxford. I'm not saying don't use those. I use those definitions as well, but we have our own. And like Billie Holiday said, I love Billie. I love me some Billie. Like she said, God bless the child that has his own. So I have my own definition. And when I'm talking about being black, you said, well, who is black or what does black mean? I know what, and I always tell people, I might not know what a certain word means, but I damn sure know what it don't mean, you know, or what it shouldn't mean, you know, real talk, you know. So I hope that shed some light on something.
Yeah, it did.
You know,
because I felt somebody watching it and being like, so what is black? So because everybody wants to associate black with the streets and, you know, all the low vibrational things that are associated with our people. So I'm glad you did shed light on that. So let's talk about what are some upcoming projects, events. What do you have going on that we can help support you on?
Oh, how thoughtful. Yeah, I need to start getting into this whole interview frame of mine. Plug. Right? So let me plug. The first thing that people need to be looking out for is this tribute music video that I'm doing in honor of Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, Dr. Ben. After that, well, here's the deal. I used to rap a long time ago, and those are the rap music videos that people are seeing now. Those songs were done years and years ago, wow. 10, 15 years ago. Those songs were, yeah, maybe even almost like 19, 18 years ago, those songs were done. And they've just been sitting there. They did well in Japan, but I figured I might as well introduce the Western market to it. And because I know how much your brothers and sisters who did hear my stuff back in the days, they were like, why'd you stop rapping? Why'd you stop? So I literally have hundreds and hundreds of that stuff, songs just lying around. So I figured until I can get back into the studio to do some singing, I'm just to maintain a Nile Valley movement presence, I'm gonna keep releasing some rap songs. So I have a few more rap songs that are getting ready to come out. Ghetto Love is one of them. People are really gonna like that because I'm bringing back a sister such a beautiful sister. If you see my music video, Pharaoh, the sister who is in that video with me, her name is Alicia. Her last name escapes me at the moment, but her name is Alicia, Tiffany Alicia, and or Alicia Tiffany, right? Alicia Tiffany. This sister blew up, and the first video that she did that really brought her to people's attention was my music video, Pharaoh. And subsequent to that, she was in Joe, singer Joe. She was in his video and a few other videos. She's been seen with people like Drake and other persons like that. But she's on everything. You can walk into the stores and see her on. It's a beautiful sister. So I've been blessed enough to have her. I had so much footage left over from the Pharaoh video that never got used. I'm going to be using that footage for the Ghetto Love music video. And I think people are really going to appreciate that because it's going to have a strong comedic feel. Well, hell, if I'm in it, it's going to have a strong comedic feel. And the reason for that, Azizah, shout out to Natural Woman magazine. Gotta just shout that out. You know? I've been watching. You know, I like to watch people and see what my people are doing, especially the more attractive amongst us. I have a love affair with black people. I love to look at black people, particularly black women, particularly attractive black women. I love just to look. There's something medicinal about it. It really is. It's the way it makes you feel. Like you could be having a rotten day, and you look across and you see a sister. Everything is right with the world. It's like everything is just right. So I got to shout out Natural Woman magazine. These videos. The most important message I want to convey to you throughout this interview is that why Nile Valley movement does what it does, why I have this lock on my head, why I have this wasket on my neck, is because what I want to remind black people of, because they don't seem to get it, we don't seem to get it, is that when white people attack us, the place that they attack us most vociferously and most ferociously is with respect to our image. That is what they attack above all else.
Yes.
They don't attack they could care less about everything else. Literally. They could care less about what you're doing financially, what stocks you're invested in. They could really care less. You could be establishing as the people. We could be establishing all kind of relationships with black people all over the world, in Haiti, in Florida, in wherever, Cuba, doesn't matter, Africa, doesn't matter. They could care less. Where they attack you at and where they feel threatened at most is with respect to the subject matter of image. And this is the one thing that black people refuse to get. They think that if you take the fight over here, you're going to be making progress. If you take the fight over here, you're going to be making progress. Okay, you keep taking the fight to all these different demographics, but the cracker is not stupid, because he's going to keep coming at you at the place where it matters most, and that is your image. And as long as he and she, because I don't leave the cracker, I'm going to say it, I don't leave the cracker bitch out of it either, because she is, who do you think he's doing it all for? Yeah, he's doing it for her, for his little girl, right? For that witch, for the ice queen, with the frozen stuff inside the breast, that poison in her breast. That's who he's doing it for, right? And half the time, you got to wonder if he's doing it for her, because he's so in love with himself, this cracker. You know? I'm going to be doing a PowerPoint on white male. Oh, I'm sorry, but I apologize for the language, but you're talking to Shakka Ahmose, I have no idea what's going to come out.
We're not censored.
Awesome. This PowerPoint that I'm going to be doing is strictly about how they manipulate image. And I'm going to be showing people things that they've never seen before. I want to force us to think about things that we've never thought about before. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who's my older sister's godfather, many years ago, are you familiar with Dr. Leonard Jeffries? I'm sure you are. Out of City College in New York. Okay, well, you should be. You definitely want to Google his name, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. Most people know Professor James Smalls from Hidden Colors 1, 2, and 3. Everybody knows Professor James Smalls, but Dr. Leonard Jeffries was his, if you will, older brother, his mentor, so to speak. And Dr. Leonard Jeffries is also a protege of Dr. Joseph Ben Yakinen and Dr. John Henry Clark. And years ago, Dr. Leonard Jeffries got in trouble with his university for bringing a certain book to the forefront. And the name of that book is called An Empire of Their Own. And that book is all about how Jewish people started Hollywood and the agendas that they had as it relates to non-white people. And the book is written by a Jew. It's called An Empire of Their Own, How Jews Started Hollywood. And all black people need to read that. They need to read that to understand what Malcolm said. Malcolm said that the media is the strongest power on earth. It will make you think right is wrong and wrong is right, that black is white and white is black. So until black people venture to understand the gravity of that statement, they're never going to even begin winning the war. You're not even going to begin winning the war. To begin winning the war, you have to first take back the control of your image. How you are represented. How is it that white people could come out with the gods of ancient Egypt, the Prince of Egypt? All these movies based on Egypt. All these black directors and black producers in Hollywood can't come out with one. I didn't say two. I didn't say three. I said one. Will Smith with his Overbook production company. They've been talking about or spreading a rumor about him producing a film about Taharqa, him playing Taharqa, the Nubian pharaoh of the 25th dynasty. You can Google it. Will Smith plays Taharqa. There's a whole thing on it. And his production company, Overbook, has been talking about it for years. Nothing. I bet you he'll do a 6 Degrees of Separation Part 2 before he does a movie on ancient Egypt, where he plays a homosexual again. You understand? Tyler Perry, Diary of the Mad Black Woman, Medea, Another Black Man in the Dress, over and over and over again. You're telling me between Will Smith, Tyler Perry, Antoine Fuqua, and I'm not going to leave the sisters out because you got some powerful sisters out there in Hollywood who are producers and directors, right? All of this black power, the writers. You have a consortium of black writers in Hollywood who are very wealthy people, who have made monies from these different ventures that do nothing to extol our image, our historical classical image. And I'm about that classical image because the white man will he will make you fall in love with his classical image. How many young black people grew up watching Hercules? Xena, the warrior princess.
Me.
Right? Percy and the Lightning Thief. Exactly. And them young black girls love them some Hercules. David Zorba running around. That was their little soft porn. Right? So how come, and the crazy thing is every time they figure us into a classical period, it's only to show us at our worst, at our weakest, at our most subservient. Look at the movie 300. The movie 300 ain't nothing but a bunch of white boys running around using After Effects, showing off a fake six-pack. Right? So everybody wanted to go see the white boy with his six-pack in the movie. And the women love it. They oh, yes, honey, taking your black man and your black children, and he's doing the same thing, taking his black woman and his black daughters to watch a bunch of white men running around on screen in the classical period with their six-pack and their pecs hanging out. Well, I'm like, hold on. We didn't have a classical period to refer to make a feature film about? Really? When we the ones that popped it off? We the ones that popped it off and did it better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, how come, I'm saying, with all of this money, with all of this wealth and resources, we can't get one, and I don't want to see a Cleopatra movie. I want to see a Nefertari movie. You feel me? I don't want to see a Cleopatra movie. Keep your Cleopatra movie. I mean, you know, because I don't argue about whether or not Cleopatra was black or white, because she was in the line of the Ptolemies. And if you know anything about the Ptolemies, they were invaders and they were foreigners. And we know certainly they would not have allowed her to be on the throne. And there was more than one Cleopatra. The one everybody talks about is Cleopatra the 7th. But what about the 6th and the 5th and the 4th and the 3rd and the 2nd and the 1st? All of those Cleopatras, you telling me all of them were black? No, of course not. So I don't need to do a feature-length film on Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor could keep that. Give me Ahmose Nefertari, because she was far more important than Cleopatra. She was a real queen. Give me Hatshepsut. Give me Teta Sherry. Ask the average black sister who has an ankh tattooed on her or a third eye of Horus. Ask her, tell me something about Teta Sherry. Who was she? What did she do? Why should your daughter know about her? Why is it important you know about it? They are clueless. And I'm talking about the conscious sisters. I ain't even talking about the unconscious ones. And it's not their fault. It's because we're not emphasizing the things that we need to be emphasizing. And we're not doing it. And that's basically what I'm looking to do. And I can tell you this much before we wrap this up. That Shakka Ahmose that people see on the House of Consciousness, you've only gotten crumbs of what I came to do. Now you've gotten crumbs of what I've come to do. And if I get off, if the ancestors bless me to get it off, you will never be the same again. I can guarantee that. Not by the time I'm done, you will never be the same again. It would be impossible. You can't give a bird wings and then tell him walk. He's gonna fly. And that's what I came to do, to give you back your wings. You know, if you look at Horus, Heru, Ma'at, or Set, they're always shown with wings for a reason. Our people had a love affair with birds. Our people had a love affair with the sky. And so many ancient people referred to us as the sky people. They didn't even use the term Kemet. They didn't even use the term Tameri. They would literally, if you go into the ancient annals, they would refer to the people of that civilization as the sky people, because everything about that civilization was based upon the sky. And so as a descendant of the sky people, my goal is to give my people back their wings so that they can begin to fly again. And you can't do that by worshiping Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, Chris Brown, or whoever else doesn't care about their classical lineage and their heritage, their legacy, their birthright. Because it's all about a legacy and a birthright. And if you don't want that and you place greater value on some dollar that one day has a value of this and one day has no value at all, if you place greater value on that, then, you know, I always tell people, if you worship money as your God, you're the biggest trick in the room at all times. I don't worship money as my God. Money is not my God. Money's a tool. Remember, I'm from the old school. The man make the money don't make the man. So money could never make me. You feel me? Like I said in the group the other day, a problem that many people have with me is that I can't be bought. Well, no, I can't be bought. I have everything already. So, you know, I'm good. I got land here in New York. I own property in New York. I own property in the Caribbean, and I own property in Africa, and lots of it. So what you gonna give me? Really? What you gonna give me? I'm good. You know, I'm fine. I'm well. My children are well. My family's well. I'm good. So let's just get down to handling black people's business and give them what they deserve. Their children need to see black heroes running across the street, and not done cheaply, and not as a sidekick to Captain America. I'm glad that they gave Captain America a black sidekick in the last one, the Hawk. I'm glad. Cool. That's fine. But, you know, where's the Black Panther movie? Where's the Power Man movie? Luke Cage. I grew up a comic reader, reading Marvel Comics. I remember all them black heroes. Where's their feature film at? Why you got to do 80 Captain Americas before you do one Black Panther? Wesley Snipes tried to get the rights to it. They wouldn't give it to him. You know, so black people they have to understand where to take the fight. The fight is to the image. Sister Azizah, Goddess Azizah, that's where the fight is. It's at the image. And if you don't get that, everything else I say will only serve to confuse you. So I'm all about the image. I've had to have that conversation. People call me and they talk to me about stuff, and they don't understand. I'm looking at the phone like this. There's nothing that you are saying that has anything to do with the image of black people. So why did you even call me? Real talk. The only reason you need to call me is if you are concerned with the image of black people. And protecting that Now Valley image comes first and foremost to me, because that has a special value, because of what it communicates to the world about how we see ourselves and how we expect and demand the rest of the world to see us. So that Nile Valley image, I'm all about protecting that. I'm all about repping that. I'm all about fostering it, reinforcing it, perpetuating it, protecting it, defending it with your life. Yes, that Nile Valley image. I'm all about that life. Real talk. It's authentic. You know?
That was so
absolutely.
Awesome. That was so awesome. I felt like I went to church by just that last piece. If that's really true, it is the image. And that's one of the reasons why I'm in film school, because that's one of my passions, to be able to put our stories out there.
Hey.
You know, we should. And that's the whole reason for Natural Women, to help bring our image back, to uphold that. So I really felt you on that. That was, thank you for sharing that on this platform. That's awesome. All right. So I think
absolutely.
Yes, I think Natural Woman is taking up about an hour of your time, seems like. I appreciate you taking time to just shed your light, to just share who you are with our readers. We'll also attach any type of music or whatever it is you want us to attach with this video. I'm going to end this, and I'm going to close this out, and then I'll tell you the other thing, so I don't want to say it while it's recording. But I hope everybody enjoyed this artist spotlight. We brought Shakka Ahmose on. Please check out his music. Please Google him, Facebook him, check him out on Sonnet. Now Valley Movement. And there is a group on Facebook for the Now Valley Movement. And I visit that group when I can, when I'm on Facebook, and it's a lot of insightful information on there. But it's all about upholding our image. And I'm just grateful that you took the time to share with Natural Woman Magazine. So everybody else, thank you for tuning in, and we will be back with another artist spotlight soon. But until next time, family, peace.